Here we go. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I am Raisa Lopez, ISV Account Manager at IAG. We are pleased to have you here with us today to learn more about AcuRental and how we are closing gaps within Acumedica. This will be a brief presentation just to demonstrate general functionalities. Keep in mind this module has a lot more functionality. If you have a need that is not covered today, please make sure to respond to my follow-up email and I will be happy to set up a one-on-one call. I also want to encourage you to type in any questions in the chat box and we will address them at the end of the call. Next slide. Here are some of the common challenges that rental companies have come to us with. They want to see what is available within a certain time frame. Flexible pricing and invoicing, processing of returns, whether late, partial, or damaged, scheduling of deliveries and pickups, management of crew, tracking costs, expenses and job costs, equipment maintenance, schedules, and history. These are some of the high-level primary issues we help better manage with Acumedica, with our AcuRental module. But before we get started, I wanted to share a little bit about us and who we are in case we haven't worked together yet. We have over 25 years of experience in business process management solutions. Our skill development team has published 16 Acumedica enhancements. 9 of those enhancements are certified by Acumedica, and 2 of them were actually acquired by Acumedica, Acumedica's point of sale and AcuGmail. We have 40 employees on our team, and we are also members of the American Rental Association. Again, please feel free to type in questions at any time, and we'll address them at the end of the call. With us is Alec Bagdasarian, our Chief Solutions Architect. Alec has earned Acumedica's MVP award 3 times, and he is the Chief Designer of all of our solutions that we have published. With that being said, I will turn it over to you, Alec.
Thank you, Raisa. So, what I'm going to do today is going to review this PowerPoint presentation. Then after that, I'll start showing you the actual programs. Again, my name is Alec Bagdasarian. I appreciate very much the opportunity to share our enhancement. So what AcuRental is a fully integrated rental order processing system that would let you address all your needs, from generating a quotation in CRM module, to sales, to processing the rental contract, to creating field service work orders, project management, fixed asset, payroll, all in one multi-company, one multi-currency system. Some of the features of AcuRental: we allow you to set up bill codes, and a bill code represents a period of time that you're charging the customers for. That could be a day, week, month, whether it's a 28-day week, 28-day month, hourly, 4 hours or 8 hours a day, meter-based, and it will actually calculate the charges based on the hours used or mileage on the tractor or the devices. As far as invoicing, we let you decide if you're going to invoice them up front, you're going to invoice them when they return, you're going to invoice periodically or based on set schedule, or you're going to let the project accounting module generate the expenses and post your rental activity to the project accounting module. We will show you at all time the availability of an item, so you could see what you have available 4th of July or later in the month. You could just go to a screen and look at an availability of an item or an availability of a serial number for a given day in the future. We also let you reserve a serial number if you want to reserve a serial number for a set day in the future. We give you the ability to drill down and see all the products that are on rent, what products are going to go out, or what products are going to come back for an enter date range. We'll do things like manage your operations tracking missing and damage, let you generate sub-rental purchase orders for sub-renting products, scan products in as you're shipping, capture a signature, and very importantly, in our AcuRental is integrated with other modules in Acumatica. Again, if you're creating an opportunity, that opportunity can include rental lines. If you're entering a point of sale testing, if you have rental yards, you can rent an item where the customer walks away with that product, or you could have a transaction that has rental and sales on it, and some rental items the customer may take away with them. Some you could set up to be delivered to the customer by your team. Same thing with field service transaction. If you have a field service work order and the person goes to the customer side and determines that that pump is going to be out, or that generator is going to be out for repairs for a month, you could create from within that field service work order transaction a rental transaction to have someone from the office deliver a generator or a crane to the customer while you're repairing the one. If you don't have Acumatica's field service and equipment module, we will in AcuRental keep track of ownership, make, model, purchase date. You also have the ability to set up inspections, a checklist that users, as they rent the product out or as they receive the product, they need to perform. You can print a sheet, you can capture a signature. We will let you schedule your scheduled service or preventive maintenance, PM as they're called, as part of the AcuRental. So you can see what inspections need to be done once a year, once every 9 months, and so forth. For situations where you need to do a lot of prep work before you send the rental out, we will let you post cost to GL, a one-time cost for prepping the product, or post to project accounting. We let you generate invoices from the project accounting module, and we let you capitalize your repair expense, and again, as to do the performance. Again, the checkings for the item based on needed calibration of tools and inspection. So here is the rental dashboard that we was talking about. So you enter a date range, starting and ending date range, and for the enter date range, it would show you what missing and damaged actions you need to take, the activity there, what products are on rent, on rental order, on hand and available. Now, on rent means the customer has it, they have it with them, you shipped it, confirm shipments. On rental order means you've entered a rental order, but you've not processed them. It's waiting for its ship date, or it's waiting for confirmation of the shipment. Notice that if, again, that's for the enter date range, you will go through all your items and come back and tell you what products are on rent. Now, this is just an Acumatica generic inquiry, so if you want to click on the line, it would show you all the orders that are in the system, orders that are going to ship within the enter date range, so you can see every day what products are going to come back tomorrow, if you need to ship tomorrow or come back tomorrow, or if you run it every Friday to see what products need to go out or come back. So this is the screen where you set up your different bill code. As Raisa said, we're not going to get into a lot of detail today, but I think it's important to point out all the type of things you could do. You can have hourly billing. This rate that you see is for 4 hours. After they exceed the 4 hours, go to daily billing, do meter-based reading, and you can set up items so the system would force you to enter in metered information when you're renting it or when you're returning it, and you can do invoicing based on those. So in this case, we said the rental fee is limit-based. It's $1.25. It includes 20 reading of that metered, and after that, you're going to charge them whatever, $1.25 for each additional unit. Here at the bottom here, you can enter things like if your billing period is not set for a day or a week and you just want to have an open rental where you enter and you tell the system that from day 1 to day 4, you're going to charge them daily, and 1 day per day. From 5 to 20, you're going to do it monthly. So So you can set up all those things, all those situations. We call it grid-based pricing, where you can tell the system 1 to 3 days, charge the daily, after the 4 days till 7 days, charge 1 week, and the day 8, 9, 10, charge 1 week and 3 days. And similarly, you can set it up so after day 20, it just charges monthly. So you could do things like that. Here we're seeing the stock item form. This is the item number, and you see the rates for the day. You see what codes of non-stock items will be used for capturing the rental revenue for the duration, the rental revenue for meter base, the missing and damaged, whether it's scheduled services. We let you set up a grouping of items. So in rental industries, in certain industries, it's very common to have certain items be grouped together. So whether it's an academy package or a high school graduation package or a crane system that goes out with certain components, you could set those up as a group, and we will load that group in the rental contract for you by just selecting the item number. And there you have the ability to tell it whether you want to just do a lot price where the grouping has a price. Maybe a camera system with certain microphone and certain stats is included, and on and on. This will allow you to enter by different functions in Acumatica: PO receipt, rental return, rental shipment, what functions you want to, what QC functions you want to perform. And there's an electric, the hoist, general condition of it, the hook, electric. So you define this, and what happens as you're doing a rental return or a rental shipment or a receiving, the system would not receive the product back in the main location until you perform the QC functions that you specify here. Or system would not let you confirm the shipment. You'll create the shipment, but you do not confirm it until they perform the functions that you've defined as steps to be done before you can check out a rental. Again, all of these are optional features. If you do not have inspections, then you would not do that. Here we're looking at a rental contract. So the RO is a type of order type that we use for rentals. RO. Notice you have 2 sets of dates: starting and ending for inventory management, starting and ending for billing. Based on the entered date, system will tell you when it's going to invoice the customer. Now, most of these settings come from the customer record. So you basically only would enter an ending date. And in our system, even the ending date is an optional thing. If you don't know when they're going to return the product, you check a checkbox in the customer record that says, we're just going to rent it. We don't know when they're going to return it. And the system would automatically handle that, so you don't have to enter an ending date for the transaction. Other things, if you have multiple shipments or whether you want to bill in advance of a period, again, load it from the customer record. You can adjust it here if it's different for this one order. If you have multiple shipments, how do you want to handle those? Do you want to bring every billing date, if it's a monthly billing, to the date that you come from the first shipment and bill on that cycle, and have a partial billing for the first period and things of that. These are the screens that show you the availability. Here, you're looking at an item and you're asking the system to show you availability from August 8th to September 26th. It will show you lines for any date range where the availability is changing back then. So you would, if you need to sub-rent something, you can see the period where you need it for. So maybe only you need it for 3 days or 2 days in there. So for example, here it shows from August 8th to August 8th, you have 3 on rental orders, RO, and 1 on rent. From 8/9 to 9/19, September 19, you have 3 on rental order and nothing on rent. So there's an order with an ending date of 8/8, August 8. And from September 20th to September 26th, you have nothing on rental order and nothing on rent. And the reason it's showing the last 9 is because we've asked it to show us availability for these dates. And of course, you can drill down and see the information by serial number. In addition to this, at the rental contract, we also have a tab which will go through all the items that are in the rental contract and show you their availability information. This is used typically for cases where you enter the rental contract a month earlier, a few days before the rental starts. You want to look at the order, make sure that everything was returned or nobody did not return a product, customer did not return a product damaged that in need of service. This is our invoice generation. We automatically go through and generate invoices for you if you set up a billing schedule, so you can set up a scheme so every Friday system invoices every transaction that should be invoiced. Otherwise, you can come in here, enter a date range, and for the enter date range, system would show you what invoices need to be generated, and you can filter it by customer, or you can enter all the things that is upfront, meaning what are the general contracts that we're billing the customer upfront and they got confirmed, shipped, or upon return, what are all the rental contracts that are set up as upon return and the customer return them, and periodically the same logic where it's a periodic billing. When did we bill them last? Is the frequency set up such that we need to generate an invoice again? So the system goes through, loads them in here. You can drill down, look at them, you can generate them. What is presented on the invoice to the customer is also a setting. You can be as detailed as possible, where you show the serial number, metered information, day, week, month pricing, or you could just say this item, this billing period, this dollar. So it's pretty flexible in what you decide to invoice. Rental return, you could return one product or one rental contract or multiple rental contract or one return document. You can scan the product that is getting returned, and based on that, it will find the rental contract. This is the screen where you also define your missing and damaged. If something got returned as a part of it missing or damaged, you can give the customer a grace period. And if they don't do good within that period, you could go ahead and generate an invoice for that customer. You could also, from this screen, sell a product to a customer. So if they return a product and they decide to buy it and you do sell, you can actually sell that product to the customer just from the rental return. There's also charge codes that you can enter, the non-stock items that by item you can set up the codes. For example, if you're billing for fuel, missing fuel, or cleaning, you could set up those charges and automatically on the final invoice, it will create a charge back to the customer for the return and things like that. Earned rental revenue at any time, we would show you what revenue you've generated for a given item or an item class or a customer. You just enter a date range where you want to see all the revenue in April or year to date or 2021. You just enter the date range. It will go through either by transaction or by item, show the number of days on rent, rental revenue, invoice amount, ratio of the days that you are in that period versus the days that you invoiced. In addition to keeping information by an item, stock item in Acumatica, we also keep information for a piece of equipment, a serial number in Acumatica. These serial numbers have statuses. You can assign colors to statuses. In this example, blue is on rent, green is ready to go on, orange is for inspection, and so forth. You can create your tabs to see one kind or the other. And if you drill down to any one of these lines, we show you a whole bunch of information, the metered information, how much you paid to buy that individual unit, what are all the costs from AP or field service work orders if you have that, what are all the revenues that you've generated for that piece of equipment, and a net. It tracks this information by what we refer to as cost codes. And cost codes, you can create as many of them as you want, and you can link those to field service lines or AP invoices. So it rolls the information up here. It knows what cost codes are for purchasing the product, which are expenses, and which one is the revenue. So here shows a summary at the top, then shows the individual cost code. But if you click on any one of these lines and click rental equipment, then it shows you the detail year by year, month by month, and you can drill down to the source transaction. So there are other information there as well, all the invoices generated. Every time the product goes out or comes back, they can enter notes, they can take pictures, and it will show this. I have 3 slides here, 3-4 slides here that shows how we've implemented our AcuRental in other Acumatica modules. This screen here is for project accounting. So you can set it up so we will post a project accounting. You can either invoice in the sales order module and post the rental equipment to the inventory as a cost, or you could set it up so it would still process the rental shipment and rental returns to track shipment and return of the product, but it would let the invoicing be done in the project module, and you use the Acumatica project accounting to actually generate the invoices. This is in the point of sale. So if you come across a rental yard that wants Acumatica, they also have some stores. We let you scan items, and the items are scanned. It knows whether you're going to ship with the customer, is going to take it away, or you're going to do delivery. Right here on the rental info tab, you enter the duration of it, so it knows how many days they're renting. Now, of course, this with the integration with the EMV chip reader, credit card terminals, and all of that gives you the ability to support clients that have rental yards, that have rental operations. Field service module, as I've mentioned, as you're entering field service work orders, you have the ability to enter rental lines, enter rental info, how you're going to bill them, for what period, on your mobile devices as you're working on appointments. And as field service, you can enter the rental item that needs to be a rental contract that needs to be generated based on what items you left at the customer site. Opportunity is the same way. As you're creating an opportunity, you could have items that are rentals that you're adding to the opportunity. Customer portal, Acumatica, same way. If you want to give your customers the ability to create rental contracts before they get created on hold, you could go and view what items the customer have entered and so forth. So that's a quick overview of our AcuRental product. But here is the actual program. So what I'm going to do, the first thing, I'm going to bring up the dashboard to show us the dashboard. Then after that, I will take us to the rental order entry and start working on the sales order and see. So as we talked about, the dashboard just shows you all the transactions that you have in the system, what orders are going to ship, what for the enter date range. And so you enter the date range here, so you can enter any date range if you wanted to see that through what date range, and the system would show you the transactions that are in the system for the enter date ordered. So we just changed the date range, and some orders started showing in that date range. These are the orders that are going to ship. These are the products that are on rent, missing and damaged that you need to take on. And you can create as many of these views as you want. We have things that would show you vehicles available, allocated for rent. That means they're reserved, damaged, not rentable, and all of that. So, and again, as I mentioned, as you click on this generic inquiry, that would open, so you can do more things. But again, you can create additional views in Acumatica, additional dashboard widgets, and so forth. Next thing we want to look at is the sales order entry. We want to go to the sales order entry program and just enter a rental contract into the system. So one of the first things you do is you just enter the customer number. So as soon as you enter the customer number, the information gets loaded into the rental info tab. Again, in our convention is that to add a rental tab in every program, like customers, stock items, sales order, so dealing with the rental. So here, again, the information gets loaded from the customer record, whether you have unlimited rental, meaning I don't want to enter an ending date, whether a default item that could be sold or rental, the default behavior should be rental or sold. So you can uncheck that. checkbox for unlimited rental if that's what you want to do, and just basically tell it that this rental is for 90 days or 60 days, and it will go ahead and do that, and just basically set it up for 90 days. You can change the bill code right from here if you want to do it daily, or you want to do a monthly billing. You just change it to monthly. It would tell you if you change it to monthly, how many invoices it's going to generate for that date range. You could tell it whether you want the invoices to be generated on set day of the month very easily here. Again, if you have multiple shipments, if you want to bring the shipments billing cycle for this second and third shipment to the first shipment date, bill and that. So even though we're going over all these fields, these are all fields that are set up at the customer level. All these are settings set up at the customer level. They just get loaded here, and the chancellor, you don't even have to do much in this screen except to enter an ending date if it's not an unlimited rental. Things like whether how to behave with posting costs to GL and project accounting are managed here. Here's where we start entering items. So we have this tab called Add Rental Items that we've added. So what happens is when you select this, and you could select any of the items, of course, we give you the ability to select any one of your grouping of items. And then if you select an item that is a grouping, what the system is going to do is going to load a whole bunch of line items that we've grouped together under that group. So very easily we let you do that. Now notice that there's also group code. So if you're renting product for a convention, you could enter the product that should go into breakout session 1, and from there copy that to breakout session 2 and 3 and 4, and so it would do that. Also, by line item on the rental contract, you can have a different starting and ending billing date. So if you have situations that some items in that scenario of a convention are only going to be used at the gala night, gala event night, you could set up for those. And those items will have a different starting and ending billing day, even though you may send them in the same trailer to the site. This is that basically hoist that we had. You could set up different basically options for it. For example, training could have California training or standard, and the certain items on the order could change. But notice by just selecting that one item, it loaded a whole bunch of items, some rentals, some sales, some service, all into the rental transaction for us. Processing rentals is very straightforward. You just follow Acumatica's conventions. You create a shipment, and once you create the shipment, basically all this inventory that is on this rental contract would go into would be updated as quantity on rent, and it will remain on rent until the product is returned using the rental return. By line item, changing the bill, change the information by clicking on rental info, and here you were changing the rental info for the order, and here you're changing the rental info for a specific line item. Here you can see the rental availability for any one of these items. You could create sub-rental POs and on. So it will show you for the enter date what are your unbilled. So a whole lot of other options that are available to make sure that we take care of all of your requirements. So this is, as I mentioned, this is the processing of the rental order. You create shipment. If you want to reserve a serial number, you click on line detail and enter serial number, and it will reserve those serial numbers for you. Some of the other things we could look at is basically the serialized inventory, where we would keep information for each serial number in the system. So each one of these lines represents a piece of equipment. You can look at the current status. That's the inventory item. That's the serial number that we have. So you could see the information for the activity. So if I look at an item, TYS80, it would just show me every item that has that. And if I want to see the activity for one of them, I click on that serial number, and here is where I would see the rental, the meter-based information for it, the equipment, what type of equipment, what it is, serial number status every time that it went out and came back. We can enter notes, we can take pictures, and that's kept with the item. Swapping history, if you rent something and they call you and they have a problem, you don't have to return it and start a new rental or if it is confirmation, you just go to the rental order and tell the system that this serial number got changed with this one, generated invoices for it, cost postings, equipment posting. These are all information that we track for you, so you have visibility over all this information. So if I bring up another item, for example, AB1, here for this one, we will basically have that equipment cost posting, how much we paid for it, and engine repair, how much we paid for, or revenue, rental revenue, or any one of these expenses. You could see it if you click here, it would show you month by month, year by year, what your expenses were, and you can, drill down to them and see the activity. So for any piece of equipment, both from AP and field service work orders, we will track the information for you. So we will show you, by these cost codes that you paid in the system, what it's costing you to maintain that item, what's the total revenue that you're generating for the item, and so forth. Another piece of that it's usually customers like to see is the ability to perform QC functions, where depending on what QC functions you're performing or your job, you can just basically enter an item or enter a transaction, a shipment or a PO receipt or a shipment confirmation or rental return. It will show you all the functions that you need to perform. So for each function here, checking the electrics or checking the camshaft or whatever, you could bring that up and mark it complete. You could print the inspection sheet. You could capture a signature and so forth. So a very feature-rich system to take care of most of everything that you need to do as part of your operation, as we talked about, inspection, scheduled services, part of the rental, so you don't have to have the field service module, the equipment module to do some of those things. So with that, I'm going to stop. Unless Raisa, anybody has questions for me, I can answer those questions.
And it doesn't look like we have any questions here. So I think we can wrap up, but I will be sending a follow-up email. So if you do think of something, please do respond and we'll set up a one-on-one call. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you all.